I was nervous because I was a place where I really was opening up, while not a new firm, certainly a whole new practice area is going to be my focus. And I was uncomfortable about spending money, taking someone's word that it would pay off.
Yeah.
But I've learned the return on investment from this kind of marketing because we certainly, while referrals still happen, actually, when I started practicing, they had something called the Yellow Pages. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they don't even actually still exist in Moore County.
Yeah.
But other than here, I don't think they exist anywhere. But I was a little nervous.
The biggest thing that I like to track and I like to show is the increased revenue, right? I think that at the end of the day, you could love me, you could think I'm the coolest guy on earth, you could think that my blogs are amazing, you could love your website, but if it's not transitioning and translating into revenue, then it's all going to be worthless, right? And I know that with most marketing, once I generate that lead, it's kind of on you to make that sale. But if we're generating great leads and my clients are having issues, there's all these people that I know that I trust, such as yourself, that can help them say, okay, it's intake or it's this or it's that. And it's not of, oh, sorry, I'm just leads. Good luck. I really like to be involved with what's going on, how I can help, who can I refer.
Welcome to the Free Lawyer Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Miles. The Free Lawyer Podcast is designed for the lawyer, entrepreneur, or professional who is in some way unfulfilled, stressed, or stuck and is looking for something better. We will discuss various blocks that limit us from achieving the personal freedom that we all desire but have not yet fully experienced. And we will give actionable steps to free yourself from them. Are you looking to achieve a new level of success? If so, this podcast is for you.
Hey, everybody, welcome to today's episode of The Free Lawyer. So glad you could be with us. And as you know, if you listen to me regularly, we're here to help you lawyers be as successful and free as you can. I'm Gary Miles, your host. I've been doing this podcast since February 22, bringing you messages of support and encouragement. And if you like what you hear, I would love you to give me a rating and review. That means a lot to me. Not so much for reasons of my own ego, although I struggle with that sometimes, but because, as our guest will tell us today, it's things like that that helps my podcast get seen by more. And that's my goal, to help more of you hear and enjoy this podcast. So if you like what you hear, I'd love a rating and review. And with that, I'd like to introduce today's guest. Cooper Saunders is the owner and founder of Wise Guys Digital Marketing in Kansas City, Missouri. Despite the fact that I'm a Ravens fan and he's a Chiefs fan, we get along great. He's an amazing guy, a national best-selling author. And what he specializes in is helping your law firm to grow and be successful. And he has amazing track record in doing that. So Cooper, how you doing today?
Good, good. Just happy I'm not a Baltimore Ravens fan, but other than that, I'm
Well,
enjoying the
I think we get to the first game of the year, and
yeah.
we owe you one at least. We probably owe you three or four.
Yeah,
Cooper, can you share the story behind starting Wise Guys Digital Marketing,
of
and
course.
what made you motivated mostly to focus on helping law firms particularly?
Yeah, so I was a sophomore in college. I was my freshman year college going into sophomore. My grandparents had a bike shop and they called me up and you could tell that they're kind of upset. And I kind of said, "Hey, what's going on?" And they said they've got this digital marketing company, they're spending all this money and they're not seeing any results. So I went out there for the summer, helped them grow. They went from one location to three, and that was like a matter of 3 years. And I came back that summer and I told my dad, I said, "Hey, this is something I really would love to pursue. I'm getting a business degree. What better degree and learning I could do, what better education, I guess, than starting a company if I'm going to get my business degree, right? School of Hard Knocks." And he said, "Yes, that sounds fine, but you have to hit a certain revenue goal before, X date." And I think the biggest thing that helped me grow my company is being people focused. I feel like whenever you focus on other companies and say, "Hey, what's your goals? What do you want to achieve?" And then use digital marketing to get there. That's the best way to kind of grow your company. And then, we got a handful of law firm clients they referred us to their friends or colleagues in different markets. And it just seems like we work really well with law firms because, about half of my family are lawyers, and I kind of understand their unique breed, right? And so kind of understand how they work, how to talk to them, and kind of understand what they need and what they're looking for.
That's great. Cooper, you mentioned your family's experience with digital marketing, and every law firm in the country has a digital marketing firm, I suspect.
Yep.
And some are good and some are not. And how would a law firm be able to see or figure out if their digital marketing company is doing a good job for them?
Yeah, so I think that before you hire a digital marketing company, you need to be very strict on can I see case studies from previous clients, right? Who are your previous clients? Don't let them send you a case study without any, law firm name or anything like that. You should be able to contact them and say, hey, is this a good agency? That's kind of the first thing to ensure that you're hiring someone that knows what they're doing. Make sure that they've worked with someone in your specific field or niche. I feel like if your law firm's their guinea pig, it's not going to work out well for you. And also, once you hire them, make sure that you're not signing a year-long contract. See if you can do 90 days, month to month. While you're not going to get amazing results in 90 days or on a month-to-month basis, it might take a little bit longer than that. You should still like the interactions, how they speak to you, updates that they send you in those first 30, 60, 90 days. So that's kind of the best way to go about it. Then also just tracking ROI. What kind of tracking are they using? CallRail, form submissions, what are they doing on that regard? So that's kind of the best way to ensure you're not going to get taken advantage of by a digital marketing company.
For someone who's ready to open up their own firm and thinking about going out on their own, and I know because I talk to lawyers all the time or think about opening up their own shop. And of course, they don't have a digital marketing company because they haven't opened up their firm yet, but that would be one of the first things they would do. And the biggest fear is, I don't have any clients, so I leave my firm, I lose all my clients. How long does it take if you get the process started for them and do it right till they really start seeing some reward on that investment?
Yeah, so one thing that I'm the most proud of is 4 out of the 5 highest paying clients at Wise Guys, we started with them. We started their law firm together. We built their website. And so I think it's all within taking those baby steps one at a time. And so, of course, the timeline on the results, of course, varies between the market, where they're at, what leads they're trying to generate, what kind of business they're trying to generate. But, you could go anywhere from 3 to 6 months, be conservative. If we crank up a Google Ads campaign, get your website up, landing page, Google Ads, it could be less than that. But, local SEO, Google Ads can really make it happen quick. But then once you get the leads rolling in, you have to know how to close them, intake, sales, onboarding, and make sure that they're happy to generate word of mouth. So you could be looking anywhere just to be conservative. So you can say, okay, if it's 3 to 6 months, but it usually happens quicker than that.
Wow, that's really encouraging. And so lawyers aren't experts in digital marketing. What are some of the most common digital marketing mistakes that law firms make, and what can they do to avoid them?
I think that when I meet with lawyers, most of the time they think they have to do everything all at once. They've got to conquer the world, and they look at and compare their law firm with other people's law firms that are, way ahead of them. They're chapter 12 and they're on chapter 2, right? And so I think that looking toward baby steps, looking toward what works, identify your target market, learn how they buy, where do they go, what do they search, and just place your law firm in front of them. And I also think that what's really important is success leaves clues. Other people have done it, such as yourself. We've got so many case studies where new lawyers or law firms will just come to me and say, hey, I'm having trouble with this. Do you have any insight? And I'll say, oh, I've got an immigration or estate law firm, case study in the same market, same size. If they're in Denver, I'll pull one from Dallas, right? And say, this is exactly what we did. This is what you need to do. And they'll say, oh, that's great. So I think that it's easy to say, okay, you're on this lonely road, but you're not. So
I think it's really nice that you keep in touch with your clients and work arm in arm with them. And I think for a lot of lawyers, patience is difficult.
Yeah.
And my experience is that building a website and SEO, it takes time, but it builds kind of like a snowball becoming an avalanche. It builds over time, but I distinguish it from putting up a billboard. If I put up a billboard, I get instant results. I take the billboard down, it's all gone. But the website and SEO builds over time and keeps building and maintains that place. So I think patience can be the key for lawyers.
Oh yeah, 100%. Same with Google Ads. You're basically paying for each fish rather than learning how to fish, right? So,
tell me
same.
about website design. What role does that play in overall digital marketing strategy? And what are the key elements for you in designing a website for a client?
I think that a lot of lawyers overthink this. I think that your website should have two main purposes: is convert traffic into leads and rank really well on Google. Everything else isn't massively important, right? And so I think that when we're looking at the design, and then if you've got a website design company, ask them, okay, what does the funnel look like? What does the conversion strategy look like? Where is what's the one thing that you want these leads to do? If you give them 15 options, they're going to get confused, right? Do you want them to call you, fill out a form submission, Calendly, calendar? I think that that's the biggest thing is start with optimizing the mobile and then desktop. I feel like a lot of people do desktop then mobile. Because mobile, there's just so many different things that can go wrong and look funky. Make sure it's fast and then just keep it simple, because if you overload somebody, they come on your website and they're like, whoa, this is too much. They'll just back out and leave. So that's my take on the website design and what's important for a law firm's website.
Yeah, I know you've written a great book called Grow Your Law Firm, and you're nice enough to send me a copy of it. It really is a great book. I recommend it to any of you who are listening today. But one of the things you talk about is the focus marketing method. What does that mean, and how can law firms use it?
Yeah, so I kind of compare it to dominating, a pond rather than trying to conquer the ocean, right? I feel like a lot of lawyers try to market every service they offer, do everything to everybody, and then also, they're very, I guess, shooting everywhere in terms of marketing. I think that the focus marketing method really talks about, in this new age, people want to deal with experts. They don't want to go, if they're having let's say a heart issue, right, for a doctor, they're going to want to go to a specialist rather than the general doctor, right? And so the focus marketing method really hits on, not only are you going to pay less than your competitors, you're going to get the best leads, you're going to stand apart, and you're going to be able to charge more than anyone else. And so that's kind of the overall strategy that we implement when a lawyer comes to us and say, hey, we're a criminal. Okay, you're going to be competing with a lot of people. Can we niche down any? Your family. Okay, can we niche down personal injury? Can we niche down to trucks or cars? So that's the focus marketing method in a nutshell.
Bringing more focus, a more narrow area of concentration. I like the example you use in your book of a 100-watt light bulb, which lights up the whole room, but a laser gives you very focused, very powerful. And that's what your thought is, focusing our energy and our commitment of time and dollars in a focused area. And you talk about finding a law firm finding its core service. What does that mean?
So your core service is that niche, right? So it's just another word that I came up for niche, right? So I'll work with a personal injury lawyer, and he says, hey, I want to generate leads for personal injury. And I say, okay, well, personal injury keywords and trying to compete with every single service underneath that umbrella, you might be spending $80,000 a month on Google Ads and SEO. But if we can kind of how you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. Okay, can we focus on car accidents? Can we then focus on truck? Then can we focus on this and kind of build from there? Again, I think that with all these lawyers, they think, okay, we got to compete with all these massive law firms and I'll never have the budget. Well, you don't need to do that. What you need to do is just pick a niche, pick a core service, focus on that, dominate that, and then grow your market. So when you have the resources, then kind of go into another sub niche. It doesn't mean that you can't have it on your website, offer it, but if you're going to be spending marketing dollars, make sure it's on a core service. Same with Google Ads. Google Ads there's a quality score. And so if you're promoting every single service, your ads aren't correlating with any keywords, all of the keywords, say personal injury, car accident, your ads aren't focused on that, your quality score is going to go down. You'll be paying more for ads as well.
What is the quality score? That's something I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, so that's the score Google gives your ad. So Google's all about user experience, right? So if I go to Google and I type in car accident lawyer and ad pops up where it's personal injury attorneys, call us today. Well, I'm going to say, okay, I'm not a lawyer, right? I don't know, okay, personal injury, is that what I'm looking for? I'm going to skip it. And so Google's going to say, okay, your search, your ad is not pleasing the user. We're going to lower your quality score and not show it as often, and we're going to make you pay more per click. Now, if I go and type in car accident lawyer and it's best car accident lawyer in Kansas City, oh, that's what I want. Click. User experience is amazing. I'm going to come back. I'm not going to go to Bing. That's what the quality score is.
And that has a lot to do with the design of the ad.
Yep. And how it's set up and the keywords you're bidding on, your landing page, your ad, all that stuff. And we'll see clients will take over their account. They might be paying $10 per click. We'll take it over and it might go down to $2 per click, right? So it's a massive swing in if your ads are set up correctly in your campaign.
What are the pillars of a successful marketing campaign for a law firm?
I think it's a good question, because I think when you're thinking about marketing, you're just thinking about the leads that are being generated, right? I think it's more than that. It's the leads, it's the intake, and then also servicing correctly and then generating word of mouth. Because again, it's your marketing efforts should compound, right? It shouldn't be, okay, you're getting all these leads, they never use your business again or law firm again. It's kind of like pushing a massive boulder down the hill, a lot of strength, and then all of a sudden it's going by itself. And so the pillars are kind of the generating the leads, then having the correct intake, selling, all that good stuff, because that is a massive issue that we'll have, is we'll be generating a bunch of leads and, the intake or the receptionist is not trained in sales, and then onboarding and servicing, and then establishing a way to get reviews, and then touching base with email marketing.
And I think one thing of all those you mentioned, the main thing you're in charge of is getting leads, but the rest of it's up to the law firm.
Mm-hmm.
They capture all those calls. Do they handle the calls well? Do they speak in a way that makes the client want to represent them? Do they close the sale? And do they then provide good service and get a good review? Almost all the parts of that after the generation of the call to the firm comes from the law firm and its efforts.
Yeah. So we had a personal injury law firm ranking for around 160 keywords, and we had a meeting set up with them to touch base. And I was super excited because, we're probably generating around 50 to 60 calls a month. Super excited to learn, hey, what we're good, what we're not, how many cases they signed up. And the lawyer said, we haven't generated any cases from it. I see these ranking reports, I see the calls, but we're not seeing anything. I'm like, oh, this is weird. Can I do some due diligence, look into this, and I'll give you a call back? And so over the week, I kind of tested, the calls. Hey, when I call their law firm, what happens? Well, 3 out of 4 of the calls, no one answered. One of the calls was the receptionist that kind of was rude to me, kind of where she was like, I was a nuisance when I called her. And one time I got through the paralegal, she was sweet, nice, but then also kind of shut me down and didn't give me the chance to say, hey, this is what I'm kind of looking for, right? And so I presented that information to him, and he's like, yeah, our receptionist is a little subpar. And I said, well, that's an issue, right? And so we solved that, and then all of a sudden, the cases that he was bringing in jumped from 0 to 15 to 20 a month. So,
and you talked about reviews. How important is managing the firm's online reputation? How important is that?
It's huge. I think that a lot of, again, lawyers look this over, but not only is it what people look at when thinking about hiring you, right? So I could rank your law firm number 1, but if you have a bunch of 1-star reviews or no reviews at all, they're going to go to your competitor that might have 100 reviews, right? And also, it's a massive ranking factor for Google for local SEO, right? So it's a 2-factor thing, right? A, I can rank your law firm number 1, but if your online reputation is terrible, the sale's not going to convert. And then B, it's going to be very tough to rank your law firm number 1 in local map pack.
How does a law firm effectively get those reviews? Obviously, part of it has to do with the quality, but I assume part of it is asking for the reviews too for clients.
Yeah. So I think that I always say at the point of you solving their issue, whenever they're the most happy, right? They're excited, things have been solved, or you solve their issue. At that point, sending them a review link and say, hey, can you take 2 seconds to leave me a review? It'd mean the world to me, right? That's the best time to do it. If they're in their office, even better. But then also making sure that they're mentioning the service that they hired you for, and then the city is also very important, right? The quality of what's stated in the review is going to help out a ton as well. So if you're a personal injury guy in Kansas City, hey, I hired Saunders and Saunders for a car accident, they got T-boned and they're amazing, would recommend, something like that is also very important.
What about content creation, blogs and the like? Do they matter much? And how should a law firm create them? What kind, how frequently, things like that?
Yeah, so content creation in terms of blog, of course that's a huge part of things, right? You got social media content, you got blogs, but the main premise of content creation as a law firm is to paint yourself as the expert, right? And so the way to do that is to answer common questions that you receive. So again, I'll go and say, okay, what are common FAQs that your law firm gets? We'll write down 10 to 15, and then we'll write blogs on that showing we're the expert, because when you hop on Google and search something, then it comes up with the exact thing that you're looking for. That's a great way to do it. And then also people are really transitioning from, and this is not necessarily a new thing, but no one likes to read anymore. If you can set up a camera like this and say, okay, you've got a blog where you typed it out, but also you're explaining it on the video, that also helps out a ton. So I'm kind of just giving your blog and website more SEO juice, but answering common questions that you get, Google's wanting to see that more quality over quantity.
And should law firms write and prepare their own blogs or use a blog writer that they engage? What works better?
Yeah, so at my company, we hired 3 retired paralegals that all they do is just write blogs for us, right? And so to just ensuring that whoever's writing your blog has some kind of legal expertise or knowledge is going to be very helpful, because if you're hiring someone to do it and they send it to you and you're like, this is all terrible, it's going to waste your time. So again, it's all about screening. Who are you hiring? What knowledge do they have? Can you send me 3 or 4 examples? Again, I'm all about saving our clients time. I don't want them to be putting in a ton of work. I want them to know, hey, this is handled. I can just focus on the high ROI activities for my law firm.
That's really good. So if someone's listening to you today and he's thinking about starting his own law firm, he or she, what should they be thinking about? They don't know where to start. They haven't started their firm yet. They're really excited. They're entrepreneurial, but they don't know where to start. What should be their first step? What do you recommend to them?
I think first things first is talking to someone such as yourself. Talk to someone like me that has helped other lawyers grow. You're doing market research. Come to us, say, hey, I'm thinking about starting a law firm. What's a good area to start? Because again, you'd be surprised. Denver isn't a great place to start, but Lakewood is a great place, right? So there's not as many competitors, and it's still a great market, right? So doing market research, understanding where your law firm should be located, because if you set up your Google business profile in Denver, it's going to be tough to rank in Lakewood or Golden, right? So understanding where should your physical location or office be, understanding how many searches there are in that market. If you want 100 cases a month and you're in a tiny city, okay, we might need to relocate that office and our marketing strategy. So really understanding that, and then just getting in touch with people, that have done it before. You'd be surprised. A lot of people are very gracious with their knowledge and information, especially people that are just starting, giving knowledge to people that are just starting a law firm and really wanting to know kind of what the next steps are.
It's funny. I used to practice in Baltimore, Maryland, big market, and now I moved to Moore County in North Carolina. And they were telling me if a lawyer moved here and opened his practice, he'd make a killing because, like you say, it's sort of some of the smaller areas are underserved and it's easier to stand out more quickly. What do you think are the emerging trends in social media marketing, and what does the future look like?
Yeah, so I always step back and kind of look at if I'm going to change, or if there's emerging trends on what you need to focus on, it's tough to predict. But what I really keep an eye on is the buying behavior of your customer, your client, right? So if you're seeing, okay, people, I'm not seeing, or this buying trend is really changing, right? They're not doing this anymore. It seems like they're more inclined to do this to find me. That's when you need to change your strategy. But I think it's terribly hard to predict a trend in digital marketing until you see, okay, users and my clients are buying this way and I need to pivot. But until then, you know, you can test, you can look at things, but it's tough to really get a great idea of what's going on until consumers change. Because I mean, there might be trends, but if your clients aren't using that way to buy, then it's going to be worthless.
In other words, we have to see how things develop. It's a
Yes.
constantly evolving market, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So
You know,
staying on top of things is huge.
I think when I decided to reinvent myself from what I'd done as a family lawyer, and I engaged someone to start preparing a website and marketing, etc., I was nervous because I was at a place where I really was opening up, while not a new firm, certainly a whole new practice area is going to be my focus. And I was uncomfortable about spending money, taking someone's word that it would pay off. But I've learned the return on investment from this kind of marketing, because we certainly, while referrals still happen, actually, when I started practicing, they had something called the Yellow Pages. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they don't even actually still exist in Moore County.
Yeah.
But other than here, I don't think they exist anywhere. But I was a little nervous. But what can you tell me about some of your clients and how this has helped them, your marketing services?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that I like to track and I like to show is the increased revenue, right? I think that at the end of the day, you could love me, you could think I'm the coolest guy on earth, you could think that my blogs are amazing, you could love your website, but if it's not transitioning and translating into revenue, then it's all going to be worthless, right? And I know that with most marketing, once I generate that lead, it's kind of on you to make that sale. But if we're generating great leads and my clients are having issues, there's all these people that I know that I trust, such as yourself, that can help them say, okay, it's intake or it's this or it's that. And it's not of, oh, sorry, I'm just leads. Good luck. I really like to be involved with what's going on, how I can help, who can I refer to help them to that next level. So I've got a handful, I probably have 20 video testimonials from clients on my site that I'll send you, and I can maybe put on if you request it. If you email me, I can send those over. But some of the biggest ones are on there is we've got an estate planning attorney that went from, I think, around 40,000 to over 100,000 a month in revenue. That was a huge one. We've got a business lawyer that we're working with that it continues to see, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% increase in revenue since I've been working with them. I just shot a video testimonial with him. And so those are the big ones that, having those case studies and showing that is massive. So that's kind of the couple of success stories, but I've got 20, 30 video testimonials and case studies that I can send for pretty much every niche.
But you've seen that what you do with focusing on a core service and being consistent really will work and multiply the firm's revenue.
Oh yeah. 100%. It works, especially if you're operating on a quote unquote small budget. That's going to be the best way to go about it. Now, if you're just trying to completely dominate your market and you've got a massive budget, it's a different style of marketing. But the focus is, okay, you've got $1,000, $1,500. You want to make it $8. That's going to be the best way to go about it.
Very good. Cooper, I call this podcast The Free Lawyer because to me, life is about enjoying the ride and really having personal freedom. What does true personal freedom mean to you, Cooper?
I think it's doing what you want, when you want, and working with who you want. I think that before we started recording this, I was kind of talking about working with the people that I enjoy working with and then really have that entrepreneurial spirit. So I think that whenever you're working with people that you love to work with, doing what you want when you want is the best form of freedom.
Very good. Cooper, I really enjoy getting to know you before we started this podcast. I work with one of your clients. I've seen the amazing work that you do and how you've helped multiple law firms grow. For those of you who are listening, and if you're hesitant about investing in digital marketing, I really encourage you to speak to Cooper. And if you're in any way not happy with who you're working with now, again, likewise, get in touch with him. Cooper, how can anyone who's listening get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can call or text me at 816-708-0814, or just shoot me an email at cooper@wiseguysdm.com. So be the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Great. Cooper, thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And for all those who listen, thank you for being here. If you enjoyed what you hear, again, please leave me a rating and review. If you would like to get in touch with me about anything going on with your marketing, you can reach out to me at Gary@GaryMiles.net. If you like any particular topics that you'd like to hear me address in future episodes, please reach out to me there. And I hope you guys have a great day. Please be well, be safe, and be free.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Free Lawyer Podcast. Wherever you are listening, if you enjoyed what I shared, please leave me a rating and review. I would appreciate hearing more about what you like best and what topics you might like me to cover in future episodes. If you are interested in experiencing a more fulfilling and a more successful life, please contact me at www.GaryMiles.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me so I can learn more about you, your challenges, and your dreams. I appreciate each and every one of you, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks to all of you for your support.